to new ideas. So, surprise. I want to read to you tonight from actually one of my textbooks. In addition to being in ministerial school, I have been accepted into shaman practitioner training, which I get to share with you guys as well. So I will be studying the Celtic shaman path, and by the time I graduate as a minister, I will also be graduating with that practitioner certification. So this is a book called The Shaman Within, a physicist's guide to the deeper dimensions of your life, the universe, and everything, by Claude Poncelet. This is from chapter 3, The Art of Living. I believe the art of living is to be found in doing things well. Every single action, every single day. In a dualistic world, one of polarities perceived by our ego as one of separateness filled with objects and subjects, it means using everything we have, secular and spiritual, to do things well. In this way, we create a life that manifests the divine, creates beauty, and does not seek achievement as its purpose. This requires full attention to everything we do, not making things right or perfect, but making them consciously, based in the authentic being we are and in harmony with the universe, the one source. To do things consciously means slowing down and not allowing ourselves to run on automatic. This is a big challenge in an age of multitasking and an age in which we lack tribal and community support. Yet it is a form of art that is much needed in our world. I believe we have some of that community here. I know you guys feel it, and I know that's why you're here. It is spring. It's remarkably dry. By the end of the month, the Northern Hemisphere is going to be experiencing a maximum amount of light. And our theme for Wednesday night services is awakening. That's what the seeds are doing. They are awakening to the possibility of what they already are. The bulbs are blooming. They are becoming the full expression of themselves. And because we study the philosophy of science of mind, we know that there is a greater force, a creative energy, and we can tap into it. That's spring. We can awaken to that which we already are. Ernest Holmes says it like this: "It seems to me that our evolution is the result of an unfolding consciousness of that which already is and needs but to be realized to become a fact of everyday life." It's already you. You are the seed. It is in each of us, and we simply need to realize those facts of what we are. So my talk title today is I Am Today Years Old. There's this really fun zeitgeist on social media where people are realizing things they never knew before, and they're awakening to these really cool facts of life. So I brought a few, and Seth is going to put them up on the screen, and we are going to become today years old. I was today years old when I learned how long owl legs are. Look at those spindly legs. Surprise. What's next? I was today years old when I realized we pronounce pronounce the G in longevity twice. Next. I was today years old when I found out screwdriver handles are designed to put a wrench on it to help loosen tight screws. I think some of you probably knew that. And then my personal favorite, oh, no, the next one. That was cashews. Did you know that's what cashews looked like? That's how cashews grow. They're ugly. Little face looking at you. So my favorite one is next. I was today years old when I learned that a buttload is an actual measurement. Leave it to the English. That second cask, that's a buttload right there. So this is what we want to do. We want to become today years old. We want to awaken to life, however fun, however silly, including our fun songs. But it's not always easy as we age. But young people, they have it in spades. When my firstborn was a baby, I had the opportunity to experience life again through her eyes, right? She's becoming alive to everything. And when she was so little, just a little tiny thing, she could barely roll over. She wasn't crawling yet. She was sort of laying on the floor, doing her herky-jerky, babbling, so cute. She accidentally caught her foot in her hand and was so surprised. And I was sitting there with her, and we both registered that shock. Oh, what is that? I knew what was happening, but for her, this is the first time. She didn't know what was happening. So after the shock, she got a little curious. She put her foot in her mouth, and then this kind of wonder and awe just washed over her. And we both got to be, today years old, discovering her foot for the very first time. We still have this power. Our body is not done. I know a lot of times it tells us very loudly that things are not fun and new to discover. So it's on us to find the new things. For instance, did you know that if you put your heel in your elbow crease, extra credit if you can actually get it up there, that from your heel to your toes, that's the size of your forearm. Surprise. Did you know that if you measure yourself from fingertip to fingertip, that's how tall you are? Surprise. Did you know you have 14 areas on your body where nerve endings bundle, and with the right kind of touch, they can feel really nice. Discover your body again for the first time. But it's actually your whole body. If you allow yourself to wake up and awaken to that creative expression of the wind through your hair, of the sunshine on your face, you can feel anew. You can have a new expression of life. So don't just listen to the pains, to the aches. Don't just watch the bad news that is so readily available. Seek out the good stories. Enter into that nourishing soil of awareness. What else is out there? There is good news out there. I'm going to share some of it with you now. There is a man named Scott Shigeoka. He is a queer Asian activist, and he's taking a 6-month road trip from the West Coast to the East Coast in a van called the Curiosity Mobile. And it is his task that he's given himself to stop at places where there are people programming around a world that works for everyone. And he is very specifically seeking out all of these places. That's good news. There is a woman named Miss Maggie Kennedy, great name. She's 98 years old. And last weekend, she played in the National Pool Players Tournament in Las Vegas. 98 years old. I'm gonna guess she probably won, at least in her category. There is a woman in Texas named Sonia Norwood. She was searching for recipes for Thanksgiving. She came upon a recipe called vinegar pie, and it piqued her interest. She was today years old, and she said, vinegar pie, I've never heard of such a thing. But what she found out, and what she now shares on her social media, her Instagram, with everyone, she has a huge following, is recipes that have been lost to time from Black history. So she's reviving things like sweet potato hoe cakes. It's almost as fun as saying buttload. She's not just sharing these recipes, she is sharing the history behind them, the meaning of that food, what it meant for Black people in the South to be able to grow sweet potatoes that were so nourishing that it gave people the ability to do their work in the world. That's not just Black history. That is for all of us. That is our shared awakening, our shared unfolding of evolution. One of my favorite ways to be today years old is to travel. And I've been blessed to be able to travel all over the world. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to go anywhere to get the awakening that can happen right here in San Diego. It is with you right now, if you only just tap into it and let it unfold. When I first moved to San Diego, I didn't know what a pomegranate was. I understood that it existed. Look at her face. Yeah, never seen a pomegranate, never seen a mango. I knew about avocados, but not those two. So I see this pomegranate, and I think, oh, I know there's pomegranate juice, so I brought it home and I hacked into it, and red spray went everywhere, and I didn't pick a very good one, and it just seemed like, okay, I'm doing this wrong. And then somebody told me that you can open the pomegranate in a bowl of water, so then I did that for a really long time, and I still enjoyed pomegranate, but I was sure I wasn't really reaping the true rewards of a pomegranate. And then I went to the farmer's market, and there was a man selling pomegranates. So I decided to be today years old and say, how do you pick a good pomegranate? And he told me. He grew up in Mexico, where evidently pomegranate trees just grow on the side of this road in the ditches. The best pomegranates are the ugly ones. They're split open on the sides, they're really heavy, and they're sort of like pushing out of their red skin. So then I said to him, how do you cut open a pomegranate? And right there in that moment, we both captured our foot in our hand, just like Molly Jean when she was a little girl. And I got to discover for the very first time that if you cut a perfect square along the top around the little nodule of the pomegranate, you can pull that square off, and then this man took his knife and just very easily sliced down that red leather skin in between the membrane of this pomegranate. He made 4 cuts all the way around, and it opened like this flower, and no pomegranate jewels were harmed in the cutting of his pomegranate. That was true connection. This is an antidote to rigidity. In the same way that beginning to discover your body anew is an antidote to thinking you know who you are, to thinking you know everything, connecting with those people we live with in our own towns, getting to know them. I like to think, not only was I today years old, learning how to open a pomegranate, but he discovered he had something to teach this overeducated white girl that grew up in the middle of nowhere, Arkansas. And we had a shared connection beyond our apparent separation. My evolution unfolded with this possibility. Eckhart Tolle says it like this: do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? If I had thought I knew how a pomegranate was open, I probably could have explained it to him, but then instead of holding my foot in my hand and discovering the wonder, I would have just been sticking my foot in my mouth and not having that connection of that community, not being in my own neighborhood and traveling with this man to his village in Mexico and learning that there's more than one way to skin a pomegranate, which is a much better saying than that other one. So let us all just recalibrate our vocabulary, because nobody should be skinning cats. There is a new book called In Defense of Dabbling, The Brilliance of Being an Amateur. It's written by a woman named Karen Walrond. And I think this is an excellent boost to our immune system against being a know-it-all, against being rigid, against thinking we have nothing left to learn. Karen says about dabbling that when we dabble, we participate in an activity without regard to productivity, perfection, or profitability. How many times do you do that in a day? How many times do you lay down the idea of productivity? How many times do you lay down the idea of making something perfect or profitable? Even when you sit down to meditate, I know you guys are thinking, this is it. I'm going to reach enlightenment this moment, and I'm going to have a very productive meditation time. Can you lay that aside and just know that you can access that awakening, that newness, that creative field in any moment? Dabble in something. I have a instrument collection, and when I'm feeling particularly silly and fun, like my little roller skate song, I'll pull my 3-string guitar box, cigar box guitar off the wall. I have no idea how to play it. I don't know what I'm doing. I have all enthusiasm and zero talent. And if you saw me on this stage singing The Partridge in the Pear Tree, you know that's true. All enthusiasm and no talent. There's no profitability in it. There's zero productivity. In fact, it is an antidote to productivity. So what are you doing to become today years old? What is still being awoken in you? How can you dabble? That's going to be your assignment. I want you to keep an awakening journal. And I want you to try and do it all month as you hear different talks on awakening, as spring is starting to create its vibrant colors for you. I want you to see if you can discover something new in your own neighborhood. And then at the end of the day, you can come home and you can pull out your awakening journal and you can write down, I saw a new color of green on the tree outside my house that I never stopped to look at because I'm being productive. and I'm being profitable, and aren't I perfect? Maybe you could lay down under that tree. Unless you live in some neighborhoods, then they might call an ambulance. We have to notice and seek new possibilities. Learn something new about your partner. Some of us have been with our partners for a really long time. It might be hard, but it is a worthy endeavor, and the seeds that are underneath the soil aren't thinking, oh, this is going to be hard. I don't know that I can push through all that soil and express the full expression of myself and awaken to a new day and be a tree. No, they're not. They're just doing it because that is what we are here to do in real time. Live this full, expressive life. Thich Nhat Hanh tells us that enlightenment is always there. Small enlightenment will bring big enlightenment. If you breathe in and are aware, that is enlightenment. That is our task. To skin a pomegranate all the different ways, to catch your foot in your hand, to find a way that your body loves your own touch. These are the seeds of possibility, alive as our life. So let's spend some time awakening to that.